everyone, and welcome to our first Facebook Live of 2019. I hope everybody has had a lovely Christmas and a New Year celebration, and that you got all the presents you wanted from Santa Claus. And if you didn't, you must have been very, very, very bold this year or last year. Today's podcast, for those of you asking, is brought to you by Calvin and Hobbes. So Calvin Hobbes, thank you for the huge investment in Help Me to Parent. So how's everybody been? Have you had a good break? I hope you're all feeling nice and rested. I'm looking forward to getting back into this. For those of you who maybe haven't seen, I have set up a Patreon page. So what is Patreon? A lot of people have been kind of asking me. So Patreon is essentially a subscription model where you guys who are so generous in your support of my podcasts can support on a monthly basis from as little as you want to as much as you want. So if you want to give us a couple of quid, that's fine. If you want to give me €2 million a month, that's okay too. I don't mind. But essentially, it's I've been doing podcasting for 6 years now, and I've done it all for free and out of love, which I've really enjoyed. And this year, I want to try and improve the quality of the equipment that I have. I want to try and improve the amount of podcasts that I'm putting out, because I don't just do the parenting stuff. I have motivation interviews as well, and I have other ones as well, just lots of other different things going on. So I will put a link actually in the comment section here, and I'll tag the Patreon page if you so wish to support me in my podcasting endeavours. But what are we here for? We're here to answer your parenting questions. And it's funny, Christmas can be such a stressful time for parents, because it is one of those times where we are expectant and we hope that things are going to be great fun for our kids, that we're going to get to spend lovely family time, but it can be very, very intense as well. It's a very short period of time, and we feel under pressure to go and see everybody and make sure that everybody is taken care of. So it can be quite a pressurized time. So afterwards, sometimes people can find it a bit of a lull after the excitement, but there can be a lull. And I hope that for those of you who maybe have had that lull, or maybe Christmas didn't go as well as you'd hoped, that you can leave that in 2018 and start to move on and get some sort of momentum built for 2019. It's funny, I saw something yesterday, and it was talking about 2020. In my head, 2020 is years and years and years away, and it's next year. My car tax. That's what I was doing. I was paying my car tax, and it's taxed until 2020, and I got a bit of a shock. Anyway, Jennifer, good morning. It's lovely to see you. I hope you are keeping well. I had a lovely time off with my family. Thanks very much. It was very nice. We had some nice relaxed time. Probably the most relaxed Christmas I've had in a long, long time. So it was lovely. Let's crack into it. So the questions have been coming in thick and fast. So today we're going to deal with 3 questions. And the first one is, my 13-year-old son seems to be completely apathetic about everything. He doesn't get excited about anything, doing things with friends, participating in sports, school, etc. He's doing well in school, so that is not a concern. He's always been a relatively easygoing kid, but in the last 6 months or so, he seems to have no passion about anything. His older brother tends to get excited and passionate about everything, good and bad, so a more laid-back teen is a nice change of pace. But we would like to see some enthusiasm about something. Is this typical adolescent hormonal behaviour, or should we be concerned? Well, I suppose it's one of those times, like anyone who listens regularly will know that I will always say 14, in around 14, is the toughest age we're ever going to have, because we're not children anymore, but we haven't got the maturity, or our brains haven't fully developed so that we can manage what we think we can manage. And sometimes that can be 13, sometimes it can be 15, but it's in around that age. What I'd say to you is just monitor it from I suppose, almost like a camera, where you're not kind of focusing in too much on it all the time, and that it's not becoming something that is all consuming in terms of what you're doing. One of the things a lot of parents will say, I want my child to, we want our child to. And, you've said it here, you want to see some enthusiasm, but you can't control that. It's what he wants is ultimately the only thing that really matters to him. So that's not saying that he's not a lovely child, but you can want him to be enthusiastic, but it doesn't mean he will. And what we can then do is get wrapped up in, yeah, but I want this for my child, I want this for my child, but it actually, there's nothing we can do about it. So you can't all of a sudden create enthusiasm in your child for something. I would suspect it's just regular teenage, adolescent hormones kicking in. He's, starting to recognise that he's becoming a young man. He's got an annoying older brother, clearly, who probably I could imagine they maybe cross paths sometimes, and it doesn't go too well. So I would expect just let it play out. What you may find in the next year or two is that he does become extremely passionate about things, because this is one of those times where kids start to explore more of the world around them. So you might find that he gets into a death metal music band, or he goes and gets into skateboarding or some obscure sport or something really that you're kind of going, I want you to be enthusiastic, but not about that. So I would kind of say it's probably nothing to worry about. And just making sure that he does keep up interests that he does have. It doesn't mean that he has to be gushing about it all the time, or focusing in on it, because sometimes that can bring its own issues where parents are kind of going, I can't get my child to study or to concentrate on anything else because they are so obsessed with X or Y. So maybe just watch it, see how it plays out, and don't put too much pressure on yourself or him either, because like I said earlier on, what you want for him essentially doesn't matter. It matters to you, but it doesn't matter to him in the big scheme of things, because what he wants is what he wants, and he'll find that. He's only 13. How many of us get into our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and all of a sudden go, this is what I want to do. This is what really, makes me enthusiastic. This is what really kind of floats my boat. So don't worry too much about it. Just monitor it and see, does he start to dip. And if he does, then you might need to step in and, go to your doctor. But I wouldn't worry about that just yet. By the sounds of it, it's not something that you need to be concerning yourself with too much. Okay? I'm enjoying the coffee today. Right, next one. Our 9-year-old has not been a big fan of attending school this year. What? Shock. Especially since they've been back after the winter break. She goes willingly, but is grumpy about how she wishes it was a stay-home day, or wishes she could be home to spend time with friends. Her best friends in our neighbourhood are a year or two older and attend different schools. Regardless, we want our daughter to like school. There's that want again. And feel motivated. And it feels like such a struggle right now. Any advice on how we can help her get her a bit more positive about school? Okay. So again, this is only something small, but it's what you want. You want her to be more enthusiastic and motivated about school. She may hate school. She may kind of sit there and go, this is the most ridiculous thing ever. I don't particularly have fond memories of school. I didn't really particularly enjoy it. There were certain things I liked, but I didn't really enjoy it that much because it was boring. Having to sit in a chair all day and listen to someone talk at me it was just horrendous. I didn't enjoy it at all. So what I'd say is, maybe it's okay for her to not be overly motivated by school or enthusiastic, because Maybe what she's interested in is just having fun with her friends. She is 9. The other thing is she's now starting to become aware of the world around her. She's starting to become aware of the fact that she's not the center of the universe. Now you may come back and say, actually, she does think she's the center of the universe, but she's becoming more aware of things, and she's probably just come off a large break for Christmas. And how many adults do you know, maybe you yourself, actually those first few days back at work after being off for a couple of weeks for holidays, it is just such a slog. It's really, really difficult to drag yourself through. It's just horrendous. The last thing you want to do is go into work because you've just had a lovely time off. And for her, she's just had a winter break. So she's probably spent loads of time with her friends. She's got presents from Christmas. She's had loads of fun, probably seen a lot of family, a lot of the people she loves. Why wouldn't you want to not go back to school? Because that means it's the end of the holidays. So it's all right. Now, I get what you're saying. This school year, it's not just this holiday, this school year, she's been less enthusiastic. But some parts of it are just, that's life. That's just life. Like I said, I didn't enjoy school particularly, but I had no choice. I had to go to school. That's just the way it is. And life is not all about what we want sometimes. So what I'd say to you is, it can be less about what is going to motivate her to like school. She may never like school. She might like it in 2 weeks' time. She might love it in 3 years' time. Who knows? But she may never love it. And maybe that's okay. But what I say to you is, if it's in the here and now, if it's the moaning and groaning and whinging that is frustrating you, that's something you can deal with in the here and now. You don't have to listen to whinging. You don't have to listen to complaining or moaning. So you can put a consequence in place. You can say, I am not listening to you whinging about going to school every morning. So yes, it's a pain in the ass. You don't want to go. That's just the way it is. I don't like it about going to work sometimes. You don't like it about going to school sometimes. That's just life. Sometimes it's a pain, but we have to do what we have to do. But I don't have to listen to you whinging about it. So either to get yourself to a point where you don't moan about it, or if you need some help to find a way to not moan about it, but I'm not listening to it anymore. And if she continues to whinge, then you give a consequence, because you don't have to put up with it. Okay? Come back to me and let me know how that goes. And Jenna was saying, that's so true. Many forget that a whole day in school is also a long day for a child after holidays or a break. No one likes it. You're absolutely spot on. And the other side of that is that our children are learning things for the very first time. So we can go to work, and for the most part we'll kind of get to a point where we can manage things, and we've a fair expectation of what's going to happen most days. But our kids are learning things for the very first time. So that can be quite tiring and quite draining. And if it's something that you're not interested in, a particular subject, that can be even harder. So maybe it's okay for her to moan about it. Get her a notebook where she can write down about her day. I know we've discussed this before, but write a notebook. Let her write about her day and what are the good things and the bad things. That way you don't have to listen to it. She gets it out and everyone's a winner. So give that a go. Get the notebook. Let her write about how crap her day was and how she hates school and doesn't want to go anymore. That's fine. You can read it and don't have to listen to the whinge. Okay, last one for today. My 10-year-old just won't keep his room tidy. Even the simple things like tidying away clean clothes or putting stuff in the laundry basket seem impossible tasks. What can I do to get him to realise he has a part to play in keeping the house ticking over, and it's pretty simple for him to do? Bedrooms. Clean bedrooms are one of the biggest frustrations for parents. And it's one of the biggest bones of contention from, a very young age right through to adulthood, where parents are giving out to their adult children about the filth in the bedrooms. But it's the reason I think this is because it's the parents' house. So your house is your house as a parent, but your child feels their room is their room. There was a guy I used to work with years ago, and he used to say that, you know, the whole way through his kids' upbringing, he told them that their bedroom was not their bedroom, that they were only lodgers, and he was letting them stay there, which I always found kind of funny. It's an interesting take on where you can go with it. But what I'd say to you is look at the consequences that are there. So if your child is not doing what you're asking them to do, then it's clear they're not listening to you. They don't feel that it's important enough for them to do it. So the next best thing is to find a consequence that you can put in place that will motivate them to actually go and do it, because the consequence is far worse than them not doing it. It's very simple. It doesn't have to be massive. It doesn't have to be huge. It could be knocking 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes off their bedtime. It could be knocking the same off their screen time. It doesn't have to be a huge escalated argument that you build into something bigger, because if it's frustrating you, some parents will go along and say, I actually don't care about their bedroom. If it's dirty, that's fine. They have to live in the filth. And that's okay too. But for you, it's clearly not. It's something that's frustrating you. So look at the consequence that you have, that you can actually put in place, that will actually have an impact on your child, and give them the warning. Let them know. If you don't put your clothes away, if you don't put your clothes in the laundry basket, whatever it might be, this is the consequence. So this is what's going to happen if you don't do what we're asking you to do. And the other thing I'd say is that sometimes kids will clean their bedroom, and you as a parent will walk in and go, this bedroom is not clean because the mattress is 10 feet higher off the ground because there's so many clothes stuffed underneath, or there's a door being propped closed by a chair. Maybe you need to help, in inverted commas, your child clean their bedroom to show them what clean actually looks like. And then settle yourself with the fact that this is not going to be the case all day, every day. They're not going to keep it clean all the time, but put a consequence in place, and those times where it doesn't happen, it isn't clean, will be less and less. And that's us. Episode 40. Episode 40. I can't believe it. It's fantastic. Right. Like I say, check out the Help Me to Parent podcast. Check out the CA Coaching podcasts, where we talk about motivation and do interviews with some very successful people about their interests, some not so successful people, but very interesting people. I mean success as in financial success, but really, really interesting podcasts. I am hoping unofficially to launch season 3 of it this year, which I'm really excited about. Check out Lemur. All my casts will be up on the Lemur app. Just follow me at Irish Al, and the Patreon page. Please do go. If you can give me the price of a nice cup of coffee, it would be fantastic. I can improve the equipment. I can make these better, and I can bring out more. So that's the plan. Al O'Donoghue Podcast, patreon.com/Al O'Donoghue Podcasts. And until next week, it's good to be back. I didn't think I'd miss you guys, but I do. So it's good to be back. And until next week, take care.